Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. An absolute honor to talk to this man. It's Lee Greenwood himself. Yes, that Lee Greenwood that you see at every Trump rally now, but he's got a song that's been around for probably longer than you thought, God Bless the USA, that is certainly come back to resurgence today. Lee, it's an honor to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Joe. Great to talk to you as well. I was glued all night last night on Milton, but I think finally that's over with.
Yeah, I hope so. My mom still lives where I grew up in South Florida. My sisters are down there, and everybody, it looks like we're okay. But, man, we just don't need any more of that. And hopefully God is blessing the USA. You don't know this about me. I was a music major in school, saxophone performance guy, and a voice minor. And thank you for doing God Bless the USA in F, because a saxophone player can play that pretty easily. All these guitar guys want to do everything in E, which is a pain in the neck. And also, did you have to make it so high? Could you take it down a few notches for a guy like me so I can sing it, Lee? Come on.
Well, you know, I'm a sax player. That's my main instrument.
I love it.
I started on alto, and then I went to tenor when I found out that I could compete with electronic instruments like guitars.
Yes.
With a tenor saxophone, it's just louder.
It is.
But I could have written it in E flat because the saxophone's in a flat key.
Right.
That would have made it easier for you.
If you're a tenor guy, I mean, G on a tenor is easy. And even if you've done it in C, D on a tenor is easy. But these guys all write this stuff in E, and it's F sharp for you and me. That's 5 sharps. What are we talking about?
When I first learned to play in nightclubs, I had to play with the guitars, and they played a song called Honky Tonk.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And I had to learn it in E, which puts me in F sharp on the saxophone, if you're familiar with that. I got pretty good at it, but it took me a while to learn it.
Well, that song, the honky tonk is something you've got. If you're a tenor saxophone player, and I am, you don't know this about me, but last November I played the national anthem as Dinesh D'Souza opened a movie at Mar-a-Lago. So I played the national anthem on my tenor. I'll send it to you if you want to see, if you want to hear. The tone is pretty good still, but honky tonk is actually an F, as you know, the original song. But you're right, the guitar players all wanted to do it in E. I believe the original song was in F. Yeah.
Sure, because of the open string, they had to do it in E.
Exactly right. Anyway, I love that we're geeking out about music. I love this. 40 years later, this song is probably bigger than, is it bigger than it's ever been, Lee? Do you think God Bless the USA?
Well, if you walked in my shoes when it was Song of the Year in 1985 for the Country Music Association, and every artist in Nashville that I admired was standing behind me, and they all sang a line of my song, there was nothing bigger than that. And of course, then General Schwarzkopf used it for a song of the war when we defeated Saddam Hussein and the Iraqis. And then we have the terrorist attack in New York, and I sang it at Yankee Stadium for billions of people. And then the 4th game of the World Series. It just keeps moving. So the other day in Butler, Pennsylvania, I sang it for 35 or 40,000 people.
Amazing.
With probably 1 billion people watching it as I sang for President Trump. It just goes on, you know?
Lee, hundreds of millions were watching just on X, watching the live stream as you sang it. And again, that's the song that reminds us who we are. But I want to go back before one note was written. How does a song like that come to you? I've talked to John Rich. I've talked to Bill Medley from the Righteous Brothers. How does a song come to somebody's mind? You can't know it's going to have this impact 40 years ago, and then it has that impact. How does it come to you?
You talked about 2 great friends of mine, by the way. John Rich and I are very close, and we're very conservative in Nashville of the crowd. Bill Medley was my opening act at the Hilton Hotel when I was opening for Elvis Presley at the Hilton back in the days when I lived there.
Amazing.
And Bobby Hatfield, his partner, was a senior at Anaheim High School when I was a freshman.
Wow.
So we talk about my musical experiences from the very beginning. My mother was a piano player in the 40s, and she played in bars, and I didn't know her very well. I didn't know my father because he was in the Navy after the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Right.
Didn't meet him till I was 18. I was raised by my grandparents. We did have a small piano in the trailer where I was raised, and because we were farmers, I had lots of chores to do, and I could play the piano at night. I think there was 2 reasons. Either it was ear training or my grandmother wanted to save electricity. I'm not sure, but both were apparent that I got better on the piano until my mother tried to give me lessons. And when she tried to give me lessons, I quit. And that's when I went to saxophone. But it wasn't very long before I was going to graduate high school that my teacher there said, if you're not going to college, I need to equip you to go to Nevada and start arranging for large shows. So I got 2 years of music theory while I was in high school. So I was well equipped when I went to Las Vegas. I started in Reno, Tahoe, and then settled in Vegas. In 1980, I opened the Stardust Hotel, and it was just, Katie bar the door. It was wonderful. I could work everywhere. I just loved it. I was doubling, tripling, and then I dealt cards for about 5 years. And all this time, I'm absorbing information. Yeah, I was a dealer at the Tropicana. So I'm absorbing information about the rest of the world, but I'm not seeing it. It wasn't until I got to Nashville, Tennessee, and started touring as an artist, 300 days a year the first 2 years, and every doghouse, outhouse, and roundhouse. And I met the American people from coast to coast. They're different from Texas to New York, true. Miami to Seattle, yes. And anywhere in California, they're all different. But I will tell you that it really ingrained in my head. And one night, I guess there was an honor guard that brought the flag out when I sang the national anthem, and I got on my bus and we're going to Texas from Arkansas. And that was the night that I wrote God Bless USA. But I took it to my producer, and my producer and I agreed that it was not going to be a single record. It was not going to be a release. The album was called You've Got a Good Love Coming in 1985. Okay. But it was Universal that heard the song and said, you're going to release that one first. And there you have it.
Well, thank God they did. So, first of all, I didn't know most of that history, and it just sounds like you decided I'm going to do whatever it takes to show people that I can add value to their lives. And again, I'm not you. I'm never going to be Lee Greenwood. I'm not pretending to be that. But I drove dump trucks and delivered pizzas and played gigs on the weekends and did everything else. You wanted to show what it was that you were able to give people, and I'm so thankful to God that we know. How does that song come, though? And again, like you said, originally they didn't want to put it out. Thank God Universal heard it and said we should put that out. But how does that come to you? And again, you've got these experiences along the entire country, but there was way more than that. It's not I've been everywhere, man. You know what I mean? It's something different than that.
Joe, I think it's the first line of the song. Of course, what came to me first was the line of proud to be an American. I don't know that I wrote the chorus first, but my grandparents struggled in the 50s to make a living. As I recall, I was raised on a sharecropper's farm, and they wouldn't let us farm grain because of grain subsidizing to Russia. And so they pretty much lost their farm. So hence the first line of the song, if tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life. I'm going to be okay as long as I have my children and my wife, because there's the mantra. We are in a free country. Thank God we are, because no matter who you are, what your talent is, you don't have to be a college graduate. You don't have to know all 3 R's, but you do have your brain. And they're in a free country, and you can invent something. You can work hard, build a reputation, start working for yourself, because I worked harder for other people than I ever did for myself. Yeah. And create a business. You can be affluent. Anything's possible here. So that's the line. If tomorrow all the things were gone, because I've been there. I was starving in Los Angeles. I can remember that. And then you move forward to the rest of the song. I won't forget the men who died. It was very necessary because I'm Vietnam age, and I remember the Vietnam War, and I'm living in Vegas. And we're doing fine. I'm working nice and hard. But I remember 3 dead in Ohio. Remember the National Guard opened up against the college students with live ammunition? Yes. That was a turning point in the Vietnam War for us. And all of those things added up to the fact that the military had lost so many men in Vietnam. And I said, I have to honor them. And of course, the song, God Bless USA, I put God first because I'm a conservative Christian, and I thought that was important.
It's Lee Greenwood. Of course, go to LeeGreenwood.com. It's that Lee Greenwood, the man who sings that song, and so many others. I mean, that's not the only song you have. Obviously, you've got a great book of songs and music that you've been entertaining us with and bringing us joy with for all these years. This song, however, is the one, obviously. Did you think it might be a dumb question, but now that I've got you, I'm going to ask you anything I want, right? Did you almost call it Proud to Be an American? Because it almost feels like that would have worked too. You didn't.
No, it was never a thought until Universal released the sheet music. And so many people had referred to it as Proud to Be an American. They made it as a co-title with parentheses under the real title. And that was okay. I didn't mind that. And a lot of people do refer to it like that. And then when I'm meeting somebody for the first time, say, "Oh, I love that song of yours, God Bless America." And then they go, I meant Proud to Be an American. Or I meant, they don't know what to say.
I do a lot of live streaming, and I talk about issues. I'm a conservative Christian like you are. I love this country like you do. And so many people watching, listening across the country right now know that. But at the end of the live stream, because I'm a musician at heart, I sing probably for a half an hour or an hour every single night. And it could be an 8-year-old Lee who's watching me on the live stream, or it could be an 80-year-old. They all want me to sing your song. I don't, because I can't sing that high. I'm a bass.
That's wonderful.
But they love
that.
this song. I got so many requests that I lowered it three or four steps so that I could sing it to them at the end. I just can't hit the notes that you can hit. But I mean, what about that? The generational pull of that song and the generational meaning of that song. And have you heard from people of different generations who said, it means this to me, where somebody else said it means that to me?
Absolutely. All of the above. And it's funny how grandparents taught their parents. Parents are teaching their children. I have friends that have a book that we put out, a children's version of the book, of the song, and we actually call it "Proud to Be an American." But it is the lyrics of "God Bless USA" to the very end of the song. And there's an audio version as well. You go to my website, you can find it, and it just says "Proud to Be an American" across the top of it. But it's the lyrics of "God Bless USA" in a children's book, and a lot of people actually have sent me videos of little kids singing it over and over and over for the past 40 years. They've sent me videos of their kids singing it. And it's so hard. You know, that's where you learn to be a patriot, by the way. It starts at a very young age.
It does. And I think that we're doing it more right than we think. I think that the national media makes it look like we're more divided than we are. And your song certainly brings it together. It's Lee Greenwood. Go to leegreenwood.com. You can right now, you can go and get God Bless the USA Bible, and it's going to come with a free copy of the All-Star Tribute to Lee Greenwood. Go and get that now. There it is. I'm going to show it full screen. Go and get that. And go to his website and ingest everything he does. You've got like 33 singles that charted in the hot country singles chart. So it's not only that song, but I'm so glad that you did that one. If you hadn't done anything else, you still would be exactly who you are to all of us, I believe. How do you connect with Donald Trump? How did that happen? Because I've interviewed the guy 14 times. I'm a big fan. Love Donald Trump. As I said, I played my saxophone at Mar-a-Lago just a year ago. But how do you make that connection? Do they reach out to you? Do you say, hey, I'd like to sing this song at your rallies? How does that work?
You know, we had never met until he started using it on stage, but I will tell you that my wife was a Miss Tennessee USA in 1989.
Oh, and he owned the pageant.
Yes, and she directed Miss Universe in Tennessee, Georgia, and Mississippi. So she worked with Donald Trump for 21 years.
Right.
Now, I had met Donald Trump a couple of times at some of the pageants we went to. We had 3 national winners. I can remember the one we went in Mexico City for Miss Universe, and he was sitting right next to us. We had some small talk, but that wasn't anything about an introduction or let's be friends, let's go play cards or whatever. He just started using my song, and I'm like, okay, I like that.
Well, I love that because
Make America Great.
Right. I mean, Jackson Brown said stop using it. The Rolling Stones said stop using it. You know, you can't use Hold On, I'm Coming anymore. I'm so glad that you said, yes, I want you to use it because, again, the song and you and Trump, if you really know him, we're uniters. This is what we do, and the others are so divisive. So there was never even a second thought where you were going to tell him stop using it. You were like, yes, use it.
I have my own career. I have 11 #1 country hits. I have 36 albums. You know, you can't kick me out of Nashville. I am an outsider. I'm from California. I'm a little different than most. I had an interviewer one day ask me the question. I said, do you have any regrets, not just writing God Bless USA, but having it as a single that represents your life? And I said, only one. And I think that was kind of taking them aback. They're like, well, what's that? I said, I didn't write Hotel California. Everybody has a calling card. Okay,
right.
This is my calling card. And yes, it does stand for my career. It is an umbrella, but Joe, it's not a parachute.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That makes such perfect sense. And what a dumb question by that so-called journalist. You have any regrets? Well, no. It's Lee Greenwood. Go to leegreenwood.com. Get that Bible. You also get the All-Star Tribute. You're going to get a handwritten chorus to God Bless the USA by Lee. United States Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights. You've got the Pledge of Allegiance. The words of Jesus are in red. So go and get this right now. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, that's wonderful. So
that's signed by the president.
Oh, I can see that's definitely his definitive signature. I love it. Let me ask you this: when do you start performing it live with him? When did that? Because I don't feel like it happened only after the shooting. I feel like he did that before then.
2016.
Wow.
So
did he invite you, or did you say, "Hey, why don't I"? How does that work?
Yeah, the RNC was reaching out to me, but I know it always came from the president. And he actually called me several times at home, and my wife had answered the phone. She said, "Honey, it's the president." And I said, "President of what?" "The president." "What?" And so, you know, we had those casual conversations a couple of times. I did that with more than one president. I mean, they would just call my home.
Right.
But yeah, it just happened, and I was proud that it did. It was great singing the inauguration at the Ling and Memorial.
Amazing, just absolutely amazing. And you sound just as good now as you did then. How do you keep your voice in shape? How are you doing that?
Well, you mentioned you sing on the radio all the time, and that's how you do it. You have to sing all the time. If I quit, and I told my wife, if I'm done and I don't sing for 3 months, I am done. That's what happened to Whitney Houston. You know, although she died drowning in a bathtub, the reason she drowned was because she was scared to death to sing live after she had had this episode of not singing for a while. She had no voice at the end. What a shame.
One of the best voices we've ever had. I actually had a friend who went and saw Whitney Houston in concert, obviously, before she passed. She said she just doesn't sound good anymore. She said that she wasn't sounding good anymore. So there was something going on with that. But you're right. The way that you've exercised your voice, you just sound amazing still. And I think one day, if we're ever in the same place, we should sing a Righteous Brothers song. I'll sing Bill's parts, because I could sing those. And then, can you do the Bobby stuff or not?
I can.
I mean, you can, because I can hear the tone of voices. Lee Greenwood, who's an amazing artist. I got to know, though, did you have because you said more than one president had called you. Did you have a relationship with Reagan? You wrote the song and released the song during his time. And God Bless the USA meant something different then than it means in 2024, I would think. How is that?
Yeah, quite a bit. I can remember when we were invited to go to the White House and play tennis. And there were 40 artists who played tennis, and Ronald Reagan was sitting on the judge's chair.
Okay.
And it was me and Chrissy Everett and Larry Gatlin and the fighter.
Muhammad Ali?
I can't remember his name now. But we
Larry
all played
Holmes?
tennis. And
I don't know.
No, younger.
I don't know. Oscar De La Hoya?
Leonard.
Oh, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Sugar
Okay,
Ray
go
Leonard.
ahead. Yeah.
And I got a ball high in the air, and I whacked it, and I hit Sugar Ray right in the head with it. And the president said, "I think you should not do that." And he made fun of my red tennis shoes, by the way. And then we had a command performance at the White House, and that's when I met Bush, who was vice president at the time, 41, and became my very close friend. A lot of casual conversations, and of course, when Bush wanted to talk to me, if I was on tour, I didn't have a cell phone yet. There were no cell phones yet.
You imagine?
And he called the police and somewhere in Iowa, and the sheriff came knocking on my door and said, "You better answer the phone. It's the president." And I was the very first one that had a mobile phone in my bus.
Wow.
Not even a cell phone. So it was interesting times that we have lived in.
It is Lee Greenwood. Go to leegreenwood.com. Get this Bible. Get all the stuff that comes along with it, and share in this incredible life story of this man, and also share in our love for God and family and country and the whole thing. But before I let you go, you already kind of said it casually. You can't cancel me. I've already got all these number one hits. I've got all these albums, 36 albums and so on. Nobody's going to take God Bless the USA away from you. But has anybody gone, psst, dude, why, you got to stay away from this Trump guy. He's trouble. Have they tried to do that? I know that they can't, but did they try to do it early on when you connected with him?
No. I think people know what I stand for. I stand for good. And so regardless of what president would decide to play God Bless the USA, and there's been 4 or 5, I've never had that kind of negativity. I think because they know I work for the military. And my greatest thrill is to be able to build homes for wounded warriors. And we built 220 homes in 12 years.
Amazing.
And I think that makes me above that kind of disgust. I've never really had people walk up and saying, screw you because you're singing for President Trump. They may dislike it. They may not like me doing that, but they can't say anything hostile because my music's not hostile.
It's not hostile. Your music is for everybody, for every American, as you say. And Lee, it's an absolute honor. Thank you so much for finding some time today. Can we do this again sometime?
Yeah, sure, Joe. Keep singing, and I'll sing Bobby Hatfield's part.
I love it. I really appreciate you. That's leegreenwood.com. Go there right now. We're back after this. Stay here.